Hi everyone, I'm Stephanie Brinkerhoff and I'm here with Kenra Professional, and today I'm going to be showing you guys this crisscross low ponytail. So this is a really versatile bridal style, really good for ceremonies or rehearsal dinners or any other special event that you might have. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do with her hair is I'm going to get one piece of hair sectioned out on each side, and I'm going to save those for later. As I do this, I don't want to create a really defined line. I just want to very softly create a parting that's right around her ear. You want to leave out enough that it's going to be able to reach across the back and wrap around the elastic, but you don't want so much that it's going to be overwhelming. So something like right in there should be good. And I'm just going to clip that aside. Okay, and then just the same thing on the opposite side, just a really loose parting right by her ear. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and get all of her hair in a low ponytail here in the back. So before I do this, I want to make sure everything is smoothed out and detail the crown a little bit so that it's looking how I want it to. And then you can position this ponytail a little bit higher or a little bit lower if you want, just depending on the look that you're going for. I'm going to do this one lower down in the back. She has a few natural curls that are kind of popping out down here. So I'm going in with a little bit of the Kenra Platinum Working Wax and just kind of working that through her hairline, just to smooth that out a little bit. And then the reason that I'm using this comb is just because it's a very fine tooth comb, so I can get everything nice and smooth. Okay, then I'll just go ahead and get that in a low ponytail in the back. Okay, I'm going to detail the crown just a tiny bit. I'm giving it a little bit of texture, nothing too crazy. Maybe giving her a tiny bit of volume. I want it to feel soft and natural, but not too super sleek. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is get this ponytail curled. So I'm going to go in with the Kenra Silkening Heat Cream. This is going to add some smooth and shine to the hair, and it's also a heat protectant. And then I'm going to curl this with a flat iron, but you could also use a 1-inch curling iron, or for a bigger curl, a 1 1/4-inch curling iron. So the reason that I prefer flat iron curls personally is because I feel like they stay a little bit better, and they're just faster and easier for me, but it doesn't really matter what you curl with. Just something that's going to create a nice soft curl through the ends. So I'm going to curl all of these the same direction. If I were going for a messier, beachier look, I would probably want to alternate directions with curls, but this is going to give a more classic, clean, curled look, which is kind of what I'm going for. So I'm curling them all in one direction. All right, I'm just gonna let these sit for a minute while I work with the sides. So I'm gonna go ahead and unclip those. And I'm gonna get some loose curls in these pieces as well. This is just gonna help add a little bit of texture and movement through the sides. So I'm just softly curling these away from the face. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start getting these sides worked back. I have a little bit of the platinum working wax on my fingers again, just to kind of help define these a little bit more and control the frizz. Okay, so I'm gonna do this a little bit cleaner around her face just because I like how it looks, but you can also leave out some fringe or whatever feels comfortable to you. Okay, so then I'm just going to take this piece, wrap it across the back, and wrap that around the elastic. Okay, and then once I get underneath here, I'm going to tuck that under and bobby pin that in place. Okay, so I've got my piece right here. I'm just using my bobby pin to grab that and then just going directly up. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same thing on the opposite side. I'm gonna wrap this around, and then instead of continuing down the elastic like I did before, I'm going to pull this through. So I'm going to stick my fingers through here, grab this strand of hair, pull that through, just like that, and then I can take this strand and bobby pin it underneath. All right, so really all I need to do at this point is just come in with a little of the Kenra Volume Spray 25 to kind of lock this in place. And then I'm just gonna softly fluff these curls up and run my fingers through them. Okay, and then I want these curls to be a little bit smoother, a little bit more of a uniform look, so I'm just gonna brush all of them together. Easy peasy. Okay, and then just for a little bit of an extra bridal flair, I'm gonna add a few pearls in there. So these little pearls already had adhesive on them, and I just kind of used them to define this line and then scattered them a little bit throughout the crown. Okay, so this is our finished look, and if you want to dress this down a little, you can always do it without the accessories. If you want to see more styles like this, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching.